All right, guys, it's been a little bit since we've done a night ride. I've got something heavy on my heart I want to talk about tonight. We're going to go for a little drive through the street lights of Wilmington, North Carolina, and talk about life and the brevity of it. I had planned to record a daytime video today. That plan was interrupted by something tragic. We're going to get right down here on the road and I'm going to show you. So currently we are just a few miles from my house, not even really a mile. And right here, a guy died on a motorcycle today. It shut down this entire road for about 3 hours. Details are unknown. I know that he hit a SUV. I'll try to get some pictures of the crash site up in the video, but the motorcycle was completely mangled. And I've got friends that drive motorcycles, and it's hard when you see something like that not to just I'm sitting there zooming in on the pictures and trying to see if is this my friend's bike? Are they okay? And I kind of go through the process and the checklist of calling everybody and making sure everybody's all right. I've got friends whose kids ride motorcycles. Those are always the ones that I go to first because 18-year-olds and motorcycles tend not to mix very well. And I know from experience, before I got into sports cars, I had a couple of street bikes. I bought my first street bike at, I guess I was about 20 years old. It was a black 1998 Yamaha YZF 600. And it's kind of funny, I bought the bike because I thought it resembled Tom Cruise's bike from Mission Impossible 2. If you guys remember that, the final scene. And so I was a huge Tom Cruise fan. Still am a huge Tom Cruise fan, though I don't do a whole lot with his personal life. I know that that's a little bit of a thing to be discussed and debated, but I do like his art. I like his craft, and I like how seriously he takes it. So I bought this black YZF to kind of resemble who he was in Mission Impossible. I even had the long flowing locks of hair that evade me now at this period in life, but that was the vibe. Not that we were using that word back then, but that was certainly the vibe that I was going for. I had never driven a vehicle that had any kind of ATV or motorcycle that had the handle clutch. And I'd driven stick shifts. I learned to drive a stick shift on the Jeep Wrangler I had in high school. So I'd driven stick shifts. I understood the concept, but I had never actually driven a car, or a motorcycle or ATV or anything that had the handlebar clutch. So we trailer it home. My father-in-law helped me pick it up, and we trailered it home, and I took it out in the parking lot there. It's super gravelly. It was paved, but it was that pavement that's just all rocks. You know what I mean? The rocks are fixed, but it's just all rocks. And I started trying to go on it, and it just kept stalling and kept stalling and kept stalling. And I came to find out later that it actually had some fuel issues. So it wasn't completely my fault, but the bike kept stalling out on me. and I could not, like, I was out there in the parking lot, I was getting frustrated. My, newlywed wife was there watching me, and so I think that my ego and my masculinity were being questioned a little bit, and not by her, but I certainly felt it internally. And so I was like, you know what? I understand like the concept of all this. I'm gonna do it like in a car. I'm just gonna get some good revs going, and I'm just gonna let the clutch go, and surely that'll get this thing going. Buddy, I did that, and that bike flipped up on one wheel. I was doing 50 miles an hour instantly through this gravel parking lot, headed straight for a Jeep Wrangler that was parked there in the parking lot, and I laid it down. First time ever on a motorcycle, and laid it down. And I was picking gravel and road, or my wife, granted, was picking gravel out of my back for weeks. I ended up going to the urgent care center and got some stuff, but I actually still have scars on my back from where I slid in that particular accident. So, like any young 20s, late teens guy would do, I returned the bike to the Yamaha dealership and got me a brand new 2002, I believe it was. It was either 2000 or 2002. Pretty sure it was 2002. It was red Yamaha R6. And it just came out, like brand new, fresh. It was still in the crate. They had to build it. Because, that's what every smart kid does, right? Like, I wreck a bike that was older and already in terrible condition and much slower, and I decided to fix the problem by buying a new one that was much faster, more valuable, and that's just what we did, right? Smart decisions, right? So the only thing I did do smarter this time is I did call a buddy of mine who rode bikes, and he came over to my house and he helped me like learn to ride that R6, and he basically like did it like training wheels. Like, he put me on the bike, and like I would slowly let the clutch out till it would start going, and he's holding up the back like my dad. I still remember that guy. His name's Eric something, but I don't remember his last name, but he was a sweet guy, and ended up never wrecking the R6. But I only kept the R6 for about 6 months because I almost died on that thing like 7 or 8 times in the 6 months that I had it. And I just did not want to, I just got scared. So I sold the R6, and that's when I got into sports cars, because I still wanted to go fast. So I sold the R6 and got my first sports car, the 2000 Camaro Z28. Not the point of this video. I'll talk about those cars at another time. The point is, I do have experience with motorcycles. And I just want to say, to my friends who are out there who ride bikes, given the tragedy that happened today, and it seems like I hear of these motorcycle accidents more and more in the news. I don't know if you guys have kind of had that experience, but man, if you're riding a bike, please be smart. Like, be smart. Know that, like, pay attention to your surroundings. Know that people aren't looking out for you. When you get on these things, respect the power, the speed, and not just that, but respect the vulnerability that you have. You are sitting skin to the wind on one of the fastest production vehicles that are made. What is that? So just be smart on the motorcycles, guys. Bring an element of maturity. Golly, we're so immature at 18, 19, 20 years old, and we don't know it. I know there's exceptions to that rule, but for the most part, we're so immature and we just have no idea. If you're 20 years old and you're riding around on a motorcycle, take however careful you think you're being and however in control you think you're being, and try to take that up by about 20 notches, because that's where you need to be driving a motorcycle safely. What you think you're doing that's safe at 20 is not actually probably safe. Again, I know there's exceptions to the rule. Our risk reward faculties really don't form even in males until like 26, 27 years old. And so just be, again, all averages, right? But just be careful, guys. Just be careful. Just know that you are destructible. I remember being 18, 19 and just feeling like I was just indestructible. And you are destructible. Life does not last forever. Life runs out. It's precious. Try to get as much of it from it as you can. Don't go out early just because you're not respecting what you're on, you know? This accident today, I mean, it's even got me thinking about just, you know, the example that I'm providing when I'm making content like this. Like, am I being careful? You know, am I showing younger guys that, you know, there's mistakes to be made out here. You know, there's danger at every corner. And I, you know, it made me think. I was thinking this afternoon. I was like, you know, like, I don't want to be the guy who's out here like hot dogging in my Z, and, you know, some guy younger than me who's, you know, looking up to me or just watching my content is like, oh, well, I want to go do that, you know, and then they end up in trouble or they don't gauge their risk properly. You know, they end up in a world of hurt. So, I mean, it even has me thinking about like being smart about the way that I drive spiritively, but also drive with an element of control. And so I was convicted to, even as I'm making these videos, to really try to be careful about staying under the speed limit, like, or at the speed limit, or maybe, you know, just a little bit above it at times, you know, on certain pulls and stuff, but just being careful, man, just being careful with life, because it can all end at any given moment. And I'm not here to preach a sermon or, you know, anything like that. I mean, you guys know that I do live a faith-based life, but, you know, I don't push that on other people. But I think that we could all agree that life is precious. We could all agree that we shouldn't take a single day for granted. We should prioritize properly. We should, you know, hold our wives, hold our girlfriends, you know, tell our kids we love them, because, you know, that guy who got on that motorcycle today, he got on that motorcycle thinking it's warming up here in Wilmington, in the beach town, and it's starting to feel good, and, you know, I want to go out and I'm just going to go have a good time on my motorcycle. That's what he thought. He did not think when he got on that bike that it would be, you know, it would be his last ride, his last day. Guys, life is so precious, and just don't forget that. Make sure that your affairs are in order. Make sure that if you did go out today, that you've told all the people that matter to you that they matter to you. Don't sleep on those moments. My thoughts and prayers certainly go out to the person who died on the motorcycle today. Again, we don't really know anything about it. I don't know who the person was. I don't know their age. I don't know their gender. But somebody lost a kid today, you know. Somebody lost potentially a husband. Somebody potentially lost a father. Or you know, I'm not giving the ladies credit, right? Like, I know girls drive motorcycles too. Somebody could have lost a mom or a wife. So guys, this isn't so much about behaving on motorcycles as much as it is just recognize that life is precious. And when you're out on these roads, driving around, having a good time, driving spiritively, just manage your risk. There's always going to be, I mean, if you live an average life, there's always going to be another drive. You don't have to get everything out of it on one go. Manage your risk, be respectful to others, watch out for other people. and love those, especially love those who love you. If you're enjoying my content, certainly appreciate a subscribe and a like to the video. That just helps more people see it. I appreciate all the engagement lately on the videos. Appreciate you guys and gals. Praying you all have a good and safe night.